Morning, guys. Well, today is day 60 of the Kicking It series, and the results are in. And I tell you what, for 60 days, it isn't too bad. So, here's the statistics. I am down to 208.3. On day one, which I should have wrote it down, I was 217, day one. Now, really, because before I had gotten down to 217, probably about a week prior, before I'd started the Kicking It series, I had gotten up to 220. So honestly, I've lost 11 pounds, but for the Kicking It series, I have lost 9 pounds. 60 days, 9 pounds. My measurements on day 2 was 39 inches. Today, 38 inches. Now, I didn't have room to write down what it was 30 days, so I'm going to go back and reference that. So on day 30, I was 38 3/8. So that means I'll have lost another 3/8 on my waist. My lower stomach was 42. On day 30, it was still 42. Today, 41. A complete inch on my lower stomach. And yesterday, I got to wear a pair of dress slacks that I had gotten and never once got to wear them. I finally got to wear them yesterday. I was wearing a size 17 in those same kind of slacks. I had gotten myself 3 different sizes of those slacks because I love the material, I love the design. So I was wearing size 17 in those slacks. Yesterday, I got to put on a pair of size 15 in those slacks yesterday. My hips was 47.5. On day 30, they was still 47.5. Today, they are 47 1/4. I lost 1/4 on my hips. That's pretty awesome because my breed, my family, on my mom's side, we're all hipsters. We have got these big babies right here. So to lose anything on them at all is awesome. I remember one time years ago, before I'd even tried to do the Weigh Down plan, because I didn't even have the book yet, I don't believe. But I was exercising, I was doing a lot of walking, and my sister-in-law had told my daughter that I would never lose weight. That's what got me started then. At the time, I was 216. I was determined to prove otherwise, and I got under 200, and I stayed under 200 for several years. And then with the Weigh Down, I had lost an additional 18 pounds and got down to 171. Sad thing is, the boyfriend that lived with my daughter, with us, was bringing home all the junk, and I gave in. I caved. There went that. But the thing is, when I had measured my hips then, way back when, my hips was at a 50. And now they're at 47 1/4. So yeah, my family on my mother's side are hipsters. My left leg was 27, and it was 26 5/8 on day 30. Today, it is 26.5. So, let's see. That makes it about another 1/8 of a loss on my left leg. Another 1/8 of a loss. My right leg was 27, and on day 30 it was 26 1/4. Today came in at 25.5. That's an incredible incredible drop right there. It was 26. No, yeah, I'm talking about my right leg. 26 1/4 down to 25 and a half. Yeah, that's a lot. And I'm going to tell you something. This leg right here, my right leg, on the back of it has got a large mound of fat. So that means I lost a lot off of that mound of fat that's on the back of that leg. My left arm, 16 and a half. Make sure which leg I'm talking about. And honestly, I can't even feel the mound, which is even better. It may be my left leg. Anyway, all I know is that's some loss. My left arm was 16 and a half. It was 16 and a half on day 30, and today it's 15 5/8. My right arm was 17 and an eighth, and it was 16 3/4 on day 30, and today it's an even 16. That's another 3/4. So yeah, 9 pounds and an average of an eighth to a half inch and a whole inch off different parts. That's pretty good. And that's all within 60 days. Yeah. And I haven't exercised every day. Yins can go back through my videos and see a lot of times I gave you a vlog saying there won't be any exercise today. But I will tell you what has changed in my eating pattern. I'm no longer gluttoning so much on sweets. I'm no longer gluttoning so much on candies. Instead, on occasion, I'm eating them with my food. What else has changed? I'm only eating when I'm hungry and stopping when I'm satisfied. And sometimes I'm satisfied with just one meal and a small snack. Nothing has changed with my diet. Nothing has changed with what I choose to eat. I only eat what I desire to eat. When I'm hungry and I need to eat. Yesterday, I didn't even eat any candy. I didn't eat no ice cream, didn't eat no candy. I didn't want any. I did not want any. Had nothing to do with me trying to cut it out. I just didn't want it. Okay, enough with that. I'm going to be talking a little later after I show you my body. I said that I was going to work out today. It's according to how long this video goes. But for now, I'm going to show you my body. So here's my arms. You can tell that they're even more muscular. They still flap. Now, I tell you what, when I flap them, this one is so tight, I can feel it as I'm flapping it. I can feel it. It's tighter. I can feel the difference in that. It was so much looser when I did that before. Come up closer. Whole lot of muscle in there. And I'm not going to do that. Be happy. There's less flappy. I'm not going to do that. But look at that. You can see the muscle, the definition. And of course, this is still just the beginning. A couple more months down the road, those are to be pretty good looking arms, I tell you. Okay, I'll show you my stomach. It's pretty flat. Looks nice. And no, I'm not holding it in. Let me turn this down. Let you see that even better. I'm not holding it in. I didn't want to wear my gray again and confuse people. So you look at that. This ring, it's not over top of this no more. I've still got it like here on the sides, and that's demolishing, but it's not over top here now. And my butt, of course, once again, along with my family on my mom's side, we've also got the rumps, the hips and the rumps. But my back along in here is so much more slender, so I've got more of a slope before my butt comes out. I've got more of a slope. There's more definition there, instead of it almost like being plumb out here and my butt being even bigger, you know. My back is even smaller, and even my husband, when he hugs me, he says that he can tell. Let me step out here so that you can see it even more. So yeah, now look at this. It is becoming more slender all in here. For 9 pounds, it's not going to be a big, giant difference, but with comparisons, you definitely can tell, especially with the notes. The notes makes that difference. In another 30 days, when it will be 90 days, there should be even more evidence on film and an even greater evidence on the paper. So, okay, now we are going to get to this subject. There has been so much controversy here, so much controversy, and I'm fed up with it. I don't care what weight loss plan anybody is on. If it's working for you, if you're healthier, your numbers are down, you are seeing yourself closer to the goal that you had set for yourself, then continue doing what you're doing. What makes it so much different, though, is the fact that people don't even have enough trust or faith in me to let me do the plan that I'm on and just watch and see what happens. Instead, in the name of care, they give me advice. In other words, almost like trying to get me to go onto their plan, almost pushing their plan. And they have done their studies that man has said that the body cannot do carbs, cannot do sugars, cannot. Well, if you want to put your trust in man, fine. But what's wrong with putting your trust in God? Ain't nothing with putting your trust in God. He's the one who created my body, not man. He knows how my body functions. He knows what my body can process and can't. And I've got the Holy Spirit dwelling on the inside of me. So why shouldn't I trust him? Why shouldn't I trust my Father for my weight loss? He created food for me to eat. He gave man wisdom of how to make food. He created man from the beginning to enjoy a combination of sweets and salts. Adam and Eve ate fruits from the trees, which is loaded with sweets. John the Baptist ate honey and locusts. Proverbs says to eat your honey and your honeycomb because it's sweet. God sent manna to the Israelites while they were in the wilderness for 40 days. And the scriptures describes it as being a sweet wafer. Okay, so, and then like God gave the guidelines for the Israelites on what kind of bread they were to eat. On the holy days that was set aside for God, the Passover and stuff, they was to eat their breads unleavened. Other than that, they was to eat their regular leavened bread. Guess what? The breads were made out of grains. High carbs, but they was eating them. When Jesus fed the crowd, what did they eat? Bread and fish. Grain, carbs. And they ate till they were satisfied. They ate till they was satisfied. So you all out there who's going by these different kind of diet plans, and I'm not talking about one because I decided to see what different diet plans restricts what. The majority of them actually restricts, one even restricts salt. A few others restricts carbs and sugars. But yet the Bible all through it, even Jesus himself ate bread. Ate bread. And no, it doesn't count because he was God. When he was on earth, he was human. When he was on earth, he was human. His body functioned as a human. He done regular body functions. I guarantee you he peed and he pooped. But our Lord, as a human on this earth, even ate breads. Grains. God created the grains to be a regular system for us to have a good digestive system, so that we would stay regular and not have difficulties while using the toilet. So what business does man have with their clinical studies to say that you can't have grains? Carbs is a natural energy. There's been several times that when I was lethargic, all I needed was either a can of soda, sugar, or maybe some kind of a chip or some kind of a carb, and I was no longer lethargic because I needed that fast energy, and I was fine. I was fine. These other sayings is that your numbers are going to be off, and it doesn't matter if you do a fast. Whatever you eat right after you're done fasting has got to be. It doesn't make no sense then. You might as well never eat. Ever. Because no matter what you put into your body after you fast, your body is going to eat it up. It's going to quickly shove it in. Quickly. It's going to disperse it through the cells. So, honestly, if the fast is to clean everything out, you might as well never, ever, ever, ever eat again. It doesn't make a lick of sense what these scientists and researchers have said, that if you do a fast, make sure that you just eat a tiny bit of something and then wait. Don't make no sense at all, guys. None. And it doesn't matter how long you have fasted. You go to bed, you're doing a fast. And a fast can range from 8 hours to 12 hours to 15 hours to 20 hours, however long you want to fast. You can fast 40 days like Jesus Christ. I bet you when Jesus was done with his fast, he didn't eat just a itty-bitty little thing and then wait a while. I bet he ate a normal meal, which more than likely consisted of bread, because that's what Israelites ate. So, why the heck would I ever believe man? Man has tried to discredit God and his creations for years because they follow Satan's little word. For years, y'all. Man has been discrediting God's creation. They started with evolution. In other words, God didn't create the world. Evolution. We came from itty-bitty little bobies in the water, y'all. The earth and the planets came from one little ball of star that decided to explode. Man's been discrediting God for years and his creations. Well, he created me, and he created me to eat whatever my body is desiring, and he created me to eat it within a certain time window, which happens to be when my body is hungry, and then for me to stop when I am satisfied. He created my body to do that. And in his glorious ingeniousness, he created my body to be able to process what I eat. He designed it to process what I eat so that the nutrients is distributed through the bloodstream and put where it belongs, and what's not useful is left in the commode. God and his infinite wisdom, y'all. So yeah, I don't care what plan you're on. You're losing weight, you're staying healthy, you keep going. Because I am never going to discredit your plan. It's up to you what plan you want to do. It's up to you what foods you want to restrict. It's up to you. Me, I've chosen to pretty well restrict chips only because I know that I don't have the willpower to stop. I'm fine with that. I can do it. I don't mind not having any chips. There's chips in a couple Munch Box over here that I had bought for the Big Mouth review. I haven't even touched them. I'm fine with that. So I ain't telling you all to quit your plan. I'm not telling you all to start eating certain foods. I'm just telling you that man-made rules of dieting and their clinical studies, they've been misled, and they've misled you because they believe something that they think they discovered. But it's up to you. I'm not here to change your all's mind. I'm here to prove what I'm doing. And that's what I'm going to do. I've been doing this book now for 60 days, and I've lost 9 pounds, and I read you the statistics of what I have lost. And yet, some of you have turned around and said that I've been wrong with what I'm eating. Gwen Shamlin said that not to be discouraged, because when you first start out, you'll screw up some, but as you continue to put God first, it'll become easier, and then you won't desire certain foods. And that will be your own doing that you don't desire certain foods. It won't be because man said you can't. It will be because your body will let you know what it wants and doesn't want. And if it doesn't want any sugared carbs, it's not going to tell you it wants it. If all it wants is just a hunk of steak, a nice good size of protein, it's going to tell you. And guess what? You eat your nice size of steak, when your body's satisfied, it will stop. And you may only have 1/4 of a piece left. And that's all you wanted, that's all you needed. Your body tells you what it wants, what it needs. Like I said yesterday, I didn't have any sweets. I didn't want any. I was satisfied with what I ate. I ate what my body was asking for. So, to just add to what I'm doing, I'm going to read bits and pieces out of this book for now on, throughout the rest of my journey. Bits and pieces out of here to prove to you all that what I'm doing isn't wrong, but it's successful. And y'all can either decide to switch and go to this plan too, or you can stick with what you're doing. It's entirely up to you. I'm not cursing you. I'm not putting you down. I'm not befriending you. Because I'm not going to tell you that gyms will fail. I want very much to see you succeed. Whatever diet plan it may be, whether it's restricting all meats, all dairy and just eating veggies, or if it's restricting carbs and sugars, or if it's restricting salts, carbs, and sugars. I don't care what your plan is. Whatever is helping you to lose weight and you stay successful and you reach your goal and the doctor says you're healthy, your numbers are good, and you can keep the weight off for the rest of your life. I am so happy for you. You go with whatever plan you want. This is the plan I want. This is the plan I know works. And this is the plan I trust. So y'all's just going to have to get used to the fact that this woman eats carbs. This woman eats noodles. I love noodles. This woman eats cake sometimes. This woman eats Klondike bars sometimes. This woman eats veggie straws and drinks Coca-Cola in the morning sometimes. After she has ended up fasting for so many hours, because I'm only going to eat when I'm hungry. And if I'm finally hungry after 16, 18 hours, guess what? I'm going to eat. And if that's what I want, just a bag of veggie straws and Coke, I'm going to do it. It's not causing me any harm, guys. It's not causing me any harm. My body is processing it just the same as if I had ate me something like a little bit of nuts or an apple or just a whatever. It doesn't matter. My body processes it the same. And I'm a very happy camper for a few hours until I get hungry again. I'm not damaging my body. Oh, and I've tested myself afterwards, and my numbers are still normal. Sorry guys, I hate to disappoint you, but the way I choose to eat after I have fasted doesn't turn me into a short-term diabetic. My sugar range is still normal after. Yeah, after. And I tested at the right time. So don't worry your wee little heads about me. My plan works too. It works too. So enough of my own ranting. And you all, I'm going to tell you this right now. If you're going to leave a comment that discredits me or condemns me or guffaws at me, I'm going to delete your comment. So if you can't leave a comment of encouragement, don't leave one at all. And don't bother with the thumbs down either. I don't need to know that you dislike what I'm putting out there. I already know that there's going to be haters out there of this, and I don't care. I'm tired of it. I'm not going to be bullied because of a weight loss plan I'm doing. I'm tired of it. So don't bother with the thumbs down. I know you're out there. You don't have to make yourself known. And I will delete a comment that is negative. Matter of fact, I'm going to put it to you like this. If you're not my friend, if you're not my encouraging friend, don't even watch my video, period. Don't even bother to put it on. Don't even bother. But if you want to watch out of curiosity, and you want to see just what I'm talking about, then listen silently. Don't turn around and give me a negative comment, because I'm also going to give you proof that this works, and it's not going to just be me. I'm going to show you pictures of people who had success on it. I even found videos of people who has had success, and I'm going to be showing you those clips later on down the road. And don't worry, it's not going to be copyright infringed because it's on YouTube. So, let's start with a little bit of the introduction. Years of restrictive dieting have only strengthened the chains of slavery to food. Years of focusing on food and giving all our boredom, distress, and troubles to a pan of brownies have only increased our stress. Dieting has drained us emotionally, if not financially, and has exacerbated exasperated, I guess, rather than solved our problems. Now, I know that some of you that's on certain plans, you said that your food bill is cheaper. I'm glad for that. I'm really glad for that, because I tell you what, anytime you can save some money, that is terrific. And once again, I'm telling you, I'm not putting down your all's plan. You do what you have to do to lose weight. You do what you feel that you have to do. I'm just telling you not to come against me, telling me that I'm doing wrong. I'm also telling you, you have been misled by these clinical trials that these different so-called doctors have given. But it's still up to you if you want to follow the plan. If it's working for you, you're losing weight, your numbers are good, go for it. I'm not going to chop you down. I just know I choose to trust my Father God, because He created my body, not man. Into this vortex comes the Ray Down workshop, which can offer up testimonials as enthusiastic as anything television weight loss gurus or liquid fasts ever produced. The inspiring sagas of women and men and children who lost 20, 50, 180 pounds and counting. Do not care what people think. Do not consider how big or little you are. Do not think of yourself a doll. If God puts this course of action on your heart, then come along. God does not call perfect people. He calls imperfect people to be devoted to Him, so that we can see His awesome and mighty right hand rescue us. Through much devotion to our true God, the Lord Almighty. See, I'm not caring anymore what anybody says. Anybody. I'm not talking about just 1, 2, 5 people. I'm talking about everybody. I'm not caring anymore. I know this plan works because I've done it before. I was the one who failed. I was the one who took my eyes off of God and failed. It's not this plan. This time I'm not taking my eyes off of God. And this time I'm going to reach my goal. I'm going to complete my journey. And I'm going to prove that God's way is better than man's way. Now, for me to give you what right this woman has to even write this book. But first, before I get to that, I want to show you this. A mountain of food in 24 hours. Diets let you chew this much, therefore the food content has to change to hay-like foods, optional calories, styrofoam-like material, and fat-free, tasteless concoctions. Volume has not changed. Now, once again, I know that some of these diets that's out here now, they have like changed the rules somewhat so that there's flavor without having this and that in there, but you're still eating a lot. With the Ray Down, you will be eating 2/3 less fat, 2/3 less carbs, 2/3 less protein, because I'm going to tell you what, if you eat too much protein, that backfires too. 2/3 less salt, etc. But every bite will be foods that you love. This is a diet because you changed the content, because you changed of what you're allowed to have and not have. You're still eating a lot of food. But here with the Ray Down, because you're eating whatever you want, but you're putting your trust in God, only eating when you're hungry and stopping when you're satisfied, you're only ending up eating to this much. That is, as long as you listen to God and let Him retrain your body. These are people who's had success. Look at him. He had one of those bear bellies. Now look at him. He looks built. Nice. Look at her. Oh my goodness, that's almost how I look right now because I haven't finished my journey. Now look at her. Oh my goodness, look at that. And they ate whatever they wanted as long as they were hungry. and stopped when they were satisfied. They didn't go by any other diet plan where they gave up eating what they enjoy so much. And now for me to read you the credit of this woman. That way you don't know, that way you don't think that she's just a nobody off the street who came up with this. I was a thin eater growing up. Now remember, this is Gwen Shamlin, and you can find her on YouTube. She's got her own Ray Down Workshop website or a YouTube channel, and she's got her own channel. I subscribe to both. I was a thin eater growing up. I can remember my father saying that my eyes were bigger than my stomach as I selected more food in the cafeteria line than I could eat. This was possibly more of a good stewardship lesson than a health lesson on my father's part, since there were 4 children to feed. At that point in my life, the pain of overeating made more of an impact on my eating than the pleasure of indulging the taste buds. Nevertheless, it revealed the beginnings of a tiny seed of greed for food. Had the seed of greed been redirected, it could have saved me years of grief. So see, she had already started a bad habit of just really enjoying the food to the point of just eating. Now, I have, as I said, I did take notice that the people, whatever foods, whatever recipes they're doing, are exceptionally flavorful because, you know, they have tweaked the diet plans so that it's more flavorful. And whatever you put in, as long as it's within the guidelines, it's very tasty. So anytime that she mentions that things are flavorless, we'll just look at like the fat-free stuff, because anything without fat really doesn't have flavor. Anything without salt really doesn't have flavor either. So we'll overlook those parts because I know that diet plans have changed a lot so that the meals prepared has more flavor. My mother was a member of the Clean Your Plate Club, so was mine. As were all good American mothers who came out of the Great Depression. Well, my mom didn't come out of the Great Depression, but it was passed down to her from my great-grandmother who had been. We were highly indoctrinated to good foods and bad foods. Fruits and vegetables were righteous items in our household. This combination of approaches to foods was backed up in schools as gospel, and the basic 4 food groups were memorized as national government teachings. I can remember getting stars if I cleaned my plate at school in 3rd grade. This combination of teaching that is still taught today, as right as it may seem, has helped to unplug the God-programmed internal hunger and internal ability to select foods, a natural biological feedback to cue the body to a variety of foods. As I entered the teen years, the pain of overstuffing lessened. My father had been correct at one time about my eyes being bigger than my stomach, but by now, after years of strengthening the stomach and freely feeding my head hunger, my stomach could easily accommodate my eyes. Besides the increasing greed, fear was already a part of my life. And before I continue on, something else that I had heard said, even though my fasting was intermittent fasting, it only was that because I wouldn't be hungry. And I'm sure not going to eat something if I'm not hungry, y'all. So if it turns into 16 hours by the time I eat, if it turns into 18 hours by the time I eat, I'm not trying to gradually increase my fasting. I eat when I'm hungry. If I'm eat right after I get up, of course I've got to wait an hour after I take my thyroid meds, so that's a natural. So rather it ends up being 9 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours, 15 hours, 17 hours, 18 hours, maybe even 20 hours. I'm not going to eat until I'm hungry. It ends up being an intermittent fast, but that's not what I'm intending it to be. That's what it ends up being. And I won't exercise after eating either. So guess what? When I go out walking, I'm not going to eat until I get home. And sometimes my exercise turns into a 2-hour walk. It's according to where I'm walking at. So guess what? It may still end up being a 15-hour or so fast. So I'm just going to eat when I'm hungry, not before. I'm not copying anybody. No one. I'm just doing what I believe that works. What I have read here, which this is the 3rd time I've read this book. And I trust my Father. There were 4 children in our family, and if I did not get mine, there might not be any left. I felt that I had to look out for myself. I was older and freer to make my own food selections, and I had not been trained even to consider true stomach hunger and fullness. I quickly crept up 5 to 10 pounds. The problem with even 5 excess pounds on my body type is that it all went to my waist and not to the area of my body that was in dire need of some extra meat, my legs. Since my body would not cooperate with me by evenly distributing my weight, even 5 pounds overweight really distracted me, since most clothing stores did not make things to fit potatoes with toothpick legs. Thank goodness I loved cheerleading. The inner drive to be a good cheerleader kept me jumping around for years. Apparently I was overeating approximately the amount of energy I was expending. In other words, my exercise was disguising, or at least compensating, for my overeating. Once cheerleading ended and college began, my overeating was unveiled in the form of extra pounds. Moreover, the University of Tennessee sold what I'd called magic cards that allowed students to go to the cafeteria of the Jenner State University from 7 o'clock in the morning to 7 o'clock in the evening. At any time of day, we could serve ourselves milkshakes, soft drinks, ice cream, and shelves of desserts. Breakfast overlapped lunch, which overlapped supper. The foods were fantastic, and all you needed to enter this massive all-you-can-eat cafeteria was the magic card. It was magic because we paid a one-time fee at the beginning of the semester, which gave us unlimited privileges. After 7 p.m., when the mega cafeteria closed, the campus delicatessens came alive. The smell of the steamed fresh sandwiches with melted cheese called my name every night. Well, the result of the combination of no more cheerleading and increased exposure to volumes of foods, without my mother around to correct me, was another 10 pounds. I was now ranging from 10 to 20 pounds over my pre-college weight, and all of the fat was around my waist. Now, instead of a potato with toothpick legs, the new look was a pregnant potato with toothpick legs. I was becoming desperate, but my mere physical 20 pounds overweight did not reveal how deeply food-focused I was. I knew no end to fullness, and I tried throwing up my food after a binge, but was not coordinated enough. The endless cycle of diets, exercise, and weight loss, weight gain was deeply entrenched by now. I loved to eat and eat and eat. Although it felt good to stuff myself, I felt enslaved. As lightly or as humorously as I might describe this out-of-control situation, in reality, it was a very insecure time for me. The undergraduate degree I was working on was in dietetics. There we have it. She's a dietitian. And my graduate study was nutrition science. A nutritionist too. A dietitian nutritionist wrote this book. She shouldn't have wrote what she wrote in there. All dietitian and nutritionist knows that you can't have carbs and a lot of salt and sugars. That's the major no-no. So what made her write this book? And her knowing from her studies. Unfortunately, these degrees only increased my wayward focus on food and self. I wondered if I had every malnutrition-related disease that the books covered. I tried the exchange diets the nutrition books recommended, and after a few years of failure, I started trying everything in the back of the book that was listed as unreliable weight loss methods, such as the low carbohydrate diets that put the body into ketosis. Oh, in the back of the book listed unreliable weight loss methods. Unreliable weight loss methods listed in the back of the book. They were listed as unreliable. Low carbohydrate diets that put the body into ketosis, a self-inflicted temporary diabetic state. Uh-oh. You better be careful that's on the keto. Be careful. It was in her study book at college as an unreliable weight loss plan. Be careful, keto guys. At the university, I enrolled in aerobic classes that used unsuccessful, questionable techniques to motivate college students to lose weight. One class actually had us contract to lose weight for a grade. I was in a cocky mood and contracted or agreed to lose 15 pounds for an A. I made a C in that class, which meant not even the highly valued grades could make me lose weight. I could not get this stuff off my body. Are you all wanting to hear more? Maybe we'll leave this for tomorrow. I think we will. I'll go on ahead and put my marker in there for that. You all might want to get to know this woman a little more. Y'all might. And I'm going to say again, if you trust the plan you're on, then continue going with it. You're losing weight, your numbers are great, you feel good, keep going with it. But as she had said in the back of the book, the keto type diets was labeled unreliable. So I'm just telling you, be careful. I'm not telling you you're doing it wrong. I'm telling you to be careful. There's a difference. Now here's the controversy. Here is what got me to lose a very dear sweet friend of mine and a supporter, because of this right here. Let me read it to you. It's sad that the diet industry is so stern and set in people's minds that they will cut off a friendship over some crazy diet plan, over trying to lose weight, because they ended up hurting their friend when in care they said that they felt they was doing wrong. Well, you know what? It hurt me very deeply that I even lost their friendship. It hurt me even more that I lost their friendship than it hurt me them giving me a negative feedback, even though they said it out of care. But now, I'm over it because I know that I'm still doing right for myself. I'm still doing right for myself, and I'm not going to let nobody, no matter how much I love them, no matter how much I want to be their friend, I'm not going to let anybody stop me from doing from what I know in my heart, in here, through God, through my Holy Spirit, my Jesus Christ, that I'm doing right. Yeah, everybody screws up when they start trying to lose weight because they keep going back to their old habits. But as they keep practicing, eventually those old habits go away and a person starts eating right, which is listening to the body when it's hungry and eating what it needs most. And it will tell you what it needs and stopping when you're satisfied. Not overindulging, not gluttony. A person's got to change their habit. It's not the food itself. It's how much of it. It's the bad habit you've got of overeating. It's not the food itself. Let me read you this. How to eat potato chips and chocolate. Yep, that's right. She dared. She's gone there. We are the salt of the earth, according to Matthew 5:13. This used to be a compliment to people. It meant that they added flavor and enhanced the world around them. Now that salt has been on the hit list for the last 2 decades, that scripture has lost its meaning. Well, you probably know how I feel about salt by now. I thank our good Lord above for the spectacular creation of sodium chloride, table salt. I love salt. Cows go up to the salt licks, and animals will use the natural salt licks in the wild all summer long. I get in the mood for a salt lick every once in a while. What I do is I get a bowl of Mexican chips. Oh boy. Corn. Tortilla chips is made out of corn, a grain, a high carb, a sugar. A bowl of Mexican chips with a tomato-based salsa. I will hold every chip up to the light to see if it sparkles. If it sparkles, that chip has a lot of salt on it. I used to try to do this at the restaurant when no one was looking. Now I do not care. After examining several chips, I usually find one. Great. Now I will dip it into the salsa, and sometimes I have been known to add even more salt to the top of that. Oh, how fun that is with the diet soda going down between the bites. I'm a double dipper. Oh, for those of you who don't like double dippers. But here's the good news. She gets her own bowl of salsas. She's not dipping in anybody else's. Because I can never cram down one whole chip. I just eat small but perfect bites. Sometimes I am so full from the appetizer that I can only eat a few bites of my chicken quesadilla entree with sour cream and guacamole on each bite. Oh my dear. Oh my goodness, what a high calorie meal. But from the appetizer, she's so full that she can only eat a few bites. Oh wow, that brings the calorie and the fat and the carbs way down, doesn't it? You have to know what you are craving. If you are craving some salt, please do not go through stacks of unsalted chips or piles of slightly salted chips to find your salt. Purchase the saltiest of chips. I feel sorry for the food manufacturers. Just about the time they have changed the production lines to lower the salt and lower the fat content, people like us put salt and fat back in vogue. And the consumer demands that the manufacturer change the food again. As long as you are eating when you are hungry and stopping when you are full, and you have healthy kidneys, their job is to eliminate extra salt in the body. Your blood pressure will normally not be affected by table salt. The reason health professionals had to pull out the sugar, salt, and fat from the typical American diet was because of the ever-increasing volumes of food we were eating. To satisfy Americans' desire to swallow more food without increasing their calories, the food manufacturers had to pull out almost everything from the food but fiber and air. When you are overweight, it is harder for your kidneys to work properly and for the blood to circulate due to pressure from the surrounding layers of fat. This is especially true when the overweight person sits a lot. The sitting position inhibits blood flow for the overweight person. Salt may accumulate in blood and move out of the vessels between the cells. Fluid retention that causes edema or swelling follows. Now that we are being reasonable in the volume we are swallowing, the content selection can be rich and delectable. Now see, I'm just not including any plans that are restricting carbs and sugars. I'm also talking about plans that restrict salt, because this covers all of it. But as I said, whatever's working for you all, and you want to stick to that plan, do it. It's up to you. The real thing is being successful, losing the weight, being healthy, and keeping the weight off, and staying healthy. That's what it's all about. The reason why I'm going through this with you all now is because I just want to give you rest assurance that I'm A-OK. My statistics proved it. Now let's talk about some sugar. Amy's favorite kind of food. And I'm not addicted to it. I just enjoy it sometimes. What about sweets? Make sure you go back and really rate the sweets you are eating. We'll talk about the food rating later. It's in here too. But we'll talk about that at another time. Get only the best. To help you learn to eat sweets again, we are going to start you with chocolates in small units. A good example of chocolate already in small units is M&M's. I love M&M's. Now, me reading this, is it making me want some? Nope. But if I get me a half-pound bag, that'd be very good with just a few of them at a time. Am I going to get myself a half-pound bag? No, because I'm not going to put temptation in the way. Not until I know that I can. Am I going to get me a small bag? No, I don't want any. I'm fine. Now, instead of ripping off the top of the package and then throwing your head back and dumping the M&Ms down the hatch, tear off the top of the package, stick your finger down in the package, and wriggle up one at a time. Of course, you may lose your grip and have to start over. You may get your least favorite color and have to throw it back into the pile and start again. My favorite color is green and red. I like the blue color too. Don't like the brown at all. You must rate your food, you know. But I feel certain you will eventually manage to get an M&M into your hand. Now you need to put just one M&M into your mouth and let it melt in your mouth and not in your tummy. Your stomach cannot taste. I have a real ritual with M&Ms. I will let the M&Ms sit on my tongue until the candy coating is off. Then when I feel it is really thin, I crush the shell with the top of my mouth and all the melted milk chocolate comes out. Of course, I sip something hot between the bites of almost all sweets I eat. My coffee with real half and half cream helps to wash off the overly sweet taste. And then I am ready for another M&M. You're not going to get a lot of M&Ms down that way. Sometimes 5 or 6 will satisfy. Keep practicing with small units at the end of the meal. At the end of the meal. In other words, you're using them like a dessert. You got to eat them within your hunger range, not when you're already full. And she's telling you to enjoy the bites so that you're satisfied. That way you're not overindulging. So see, that's something else that I'm retraining myself to slowly enjoy what I'm eating so that my body recognizes that it's been satisfied and it doesn't want no more. It's a retraining process, y'all. Most of the world, in fact, probably all of the world's populations offers dessert at the end of the meal. God created man to like this, or how would so many diverse populations do the same thing? Even thin Asians. Rich, by the way, eats nothing but rice. Went to a restaurant yesterday. The owner is a Chinese lady. Now, they sell American food, hamburgers and stuff, but they also sell Chinese food. So she's sitting there at her table as we're eating, and she gets into conversation with us, and she's talking about the foods they eat. They don't eat a lot of fried foods. It's their choice. They really don't like fried foods. They eat a lot of seafood. They like their seafood. And they don't like a lot of beef because there's a story that was passed down from generations that the cow cried right before it was slaughtered. And apparently its spirit came back and they asked something about it, and it said that the reason that it cried was because it was no longer worked and instead it was ate. I'm sure that you vegans out there would love to hear that Chinese tale, but that's just something else entirely. It was very fascinating, though, to listen to her. They've got their means of eating. They've got their means. Their foods helps them to live a prolonged life. So, you know, everybody has their own diet plan. Everybody has their own meals. And everybody, you know, they've got their preferences. But it was very interesting to listen to that woman. What they eat a lot of rice, which is natural sugar and high carb, and a grain. Look how skinny they are. It's amazing. I've ate some of their candies too. It was Japanese candy. I ate Asian candy on my Big Mouth review. Pretty good stuff. I have noticed my own cravings as I get toward the end of a meal. This same feeling comes over me. I'm nearly finished, so give me my dessert or sweet. Dessert just indicates the end of eating. It pacifies me and concludes the eating event. My servings are small, and I take small bites, savoring every bite. And I drink between bites. Yum! But I quit when I am politely full. If you are still having trouble with overwhelming magnetism for the salts and sweets, hang on. Phase 2 will help you turn that around. As you open up each page of Phase 2, God will make you face some things, tough things about yourself. Do not fear, for you will find that it won't be with dread, but almost with anticipation as you progressively make this transfer from love of food to love of God. Now, I'm not going to get into that immediately with you all, because first I've got to continue setting up the first part of this with you. Now, I know that I sounded extremely gruff and angry, because I am. But not in a hateful way, not in a malice way. There's no malice in my heart. I'm fed up with these people that's on different kinds of diet plans, and they think that their diet plans are it, and that these scientific and doctor type gurus who's been studying food intake in the body knows everything. The one thing that they're not doing, these doctors and these scientists that's doing these clinical studies, they're not basing their studies on God and how He made the body. The majority of their tests are done on rats. What good does that do? Rats aren't humans. And yeah, I know they do blind clinical studies on people, on a group of people. But the thing is, it still comes right down to it. Every person's body is different. Every person's body is different. So why does this work? Because this works for everybody and anybody. Why? Because for one, you've got the freedom of whatever you eat. You've got the freedom. So if you choose to cut out a certain food, that's fine. That's your privilege. The main concept is putting God first and only eating when you're hungry and stopping when you're full. That's the main concept of this entire plan. So if you don't want sweets, fine, don't eat them. You don't want carbs, fine, don't eat them. Anything that any diet restricts, if you'd rather not eat them on your own, you choose not to eat them, you'd rather not eat them because you just don't want to, because you think they would hurt you, then don't. There's no condemnation from this book, none. Because everybody has a choice to make in their eating. All she's trying to tell you is that you don't have to be bound by a restrictive diet. It's your choice for you to eat whatever your body is calling for. That's what she's trying to tell you. To do it within the time frame of hunger and fullness, whatever your body is calling for. That you don't have to be bound and chained by a restrictive diet. Go by what your doctor tells you. If there's something that's medically impossible for you to eat, like if you're allergic to peanuts, any kind of nut, or if you're allergic to certain kind of grains that's like gluten, if you've got a gluten allergy, or if you've got an allergy to seafood, don't eat it. That would be stupid. If you've got a problem with insulin and diabetes, don't cram down a bunch of carbs and sugars. That would be stupid. So with this Ray Down workshop plan, the only restrictions is what you have medically. Not because of some silly diet that man made saying that will make you fat. Or that will cause you to turn diabetic. A person doesn't become diabetic overnight, y'all. It's with wrong eating. It's with wrong eating. It's with overindulgence. Some people, unfortunately, they really are diabetic. There happens to be a section in here that someone wrote, they're juvenile diabetic. Yeah, I was going to go on ahead and cut this off, but I'm going to read that from that person that was juvenile diabetic. See if I can, I know that's not there. Bear with me, y'all. See, the thing is, I'm not condemning you guys. I'm really not. And I know it sounds like I am. It seriously does. It sounds like I am. And I apologize for it sounding that way, because that's not what I'm meaning. I'm not condemning you all. It truly is your decision how you eat. I'm just advising you, please don't do it because man says you can't. But it's still up to you if you want to cut certain foods out. It is entirely up to you. Let me read you this. This is from a Rain Russell from Mississippi. He wrote this to Gwen. It's a testimony of his, a juvenile onset diabetic. Let me read this. This might help set a lot of your guys' minds to ease. Through God's grace, the workshop has been responsible for many changes in my life. Most important is my spiritual growth. I find myself reading God's Word more now than ever. I pray and seek His will much more often. Not only do I pray and seek His will, but I also ask for His help with controlling my hunger feelings as well as the problems in my everyday life. Even if I had not lost a single ounce while in Ray Down, this growth in my spiritual life has been worth any price paid for the program. By the way, if you want to be a part of the program, it's $99, or you can buy this book on Amazon for under $4, and you can find different clips here and there on YouTube that's been posted about certain different things. So you don't necessarily have to be a part of the program for $99. You can get the book and watch videos on YouTube and still get the same thing. Please don't misunderstand my thoughts. All of us as Christians know that God's grace and our salvation is a free gift and can't be purchased at any price. The physical changes that have taken place are, to me, simply icing on the cake compared to the spiritual growth I have experienced. Now let me tell you a little bit about that icing. I have been a class 1, totally insulin dependent, 2-shot-a-day diabetic for the past 33 years, since I was 9 years old. As a general rule, my diabetics my diabetes has been pretty well under control, but my rate over the past few years has been ever so slowly increasing. A few pounds a year, nothing to worry about, right? Wrong. In January of '93, my doctor told me I needed to lose about 30 pounds. Well, after a couple of attempts to diet, I had only gained 4 pounds. Then I began to notice that some good friends at my church, Cheryl and Troy, were starting to disappear before my very eyes. Weight-wise, that is. When I asked them how they were able to lose their weight, they told me all about the Weigh Down program. Troy told me that he would be starting a class. Seeing such good results, I decided to sign up. After sharing a good final meal with my family, I started my first class of Weigh Down, and my journey through the wilderness toward the promised land began. I caution anyone who is a diabetic like me or people who have physical problems to seek the advice of their doctor before starting this program. They should also get on their knees and seek God's advice before they start. Personally, I had very good results with the program, and except for some adjustments in my insulin injections, I had no problems adjusting to the new eating habits. But as we all know, everyone is different. What the Lord did for me that first night and has continued to do for me many times since is something I will never forget. I had made a vow to wait for true stomach hunger before I ate. I had even made it through the 10 p.m. late night snack time without eating. Anyway, at about 2:30 in the morning, I woke from a deep sleep. I must have been dreaming of a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. When I woke, the first thing I thought of was the food in the refrigerator. Then I thought of what Gwen had told us about asking the Lord for help when we had desire eating. I was not hungry, so instead of going to the refrigerator, I knelt by my bed and prayed. I asked the Lord to fill me with His Spirit and to take away the hunger feeling I had. The false hunger feeling left immediately. I went back to sleep and didn't eat a bite for hours. Praise God, what a feeling of His Spirit can do. Ever since that first night, if a temptation creeps into my mind to eat when I'm not really hungry, I simply ask God to fill me with His Spirit. Believe me, it works. To make a long story a little shorter, in 5 months I was able to lose 44 pounds. 5 months, 44 pounds, a juvenile diabetic. Years later, I haven't gained or lost a single pound. My doctor was impressed, to say the least. I am now able to take half the insulin that I used to take and feel great, plus save money. No longer do I have heartburn and indigestion every day as I used to. The fact is, I never get it anymore, which is good because I never did like antacids anyway. I sleep better and have a lot more energy. One thing I could do now that I once could not is bend over, tie my shoes, and talk at the same time. I don't remember all of the measurements that I took of myself, but somewhere I have managed to misplace 10.5 inches from my abdomen and 4.5 inches from my waist measurements. There are many more good things I could tell you, but I feel that I must tell you some of the things that are going to regrettably happen to you if you are successful in losing weight. First, you will have people asking if you have been sick. Then you are probably going to hurt your mother's feelings because you didn't eat double helpings of her Sunday dinner that she worked so hard to prepare. Sorry, this one really hurts. You're going to have to go and buy some new clothes because the old ones just don't seem to fit anymore. I do apologize for sounding a little harsh, but I've been running this over my mind over and over and over again because, when I read this book from the beginning to end, made so much sense. So much sense. The last video I watched, this one person said, do your research. I'm going to inform you all. I've been working on losing weight since I was about 20, 21 years old. Actually, even younger than that, in my teens, because I wasn't happy being the weight of 142. In my married life, in my younger years, I started getting fitness magazines, and I was reading the health articles. And then I started getting First for Women that had health articles. I have read different books on different types of diets, reading what was said about supposedly what the body composition is and what it does and what you shouldn't do. I've done research, lots of it. That's the reason why I know all these exercises, for one. I even worked out with Denise Austin, Gilead, Billy Blanks. This Kicking It series isn't my first jump on the horse in the rodeo, okay? I have been riding this bucking stallion for years. And I've been thrown off so many times that I became bruised. Even doing this, but because of me going back to my old habit, once again I was thrown off that bucking stallion. It wasn't because this plan fails. It has nothing to do with that. It had to do because I didn't let God help me change my habit. With this plan, you have to let God. Now, for those of you who aren't a Christian, she talks about that in there too. She talks about people who aren't religious, who aren't a Christian, and they're also. So I will cover that down the line as well. I'm just letting y'all know. I was going to exercise today along with showing you my before and after, but last night as I was praying, Holy Ghost led me a different path. So this Kicking It series has changed. I'm still going to be exercising every day. I'm still going to be doing an exercise every day. I'm going to be vlogging it just like I've been doing it, just like in the regular Kicking It series. But this Kicking It series is going to now include pieces from this book and clips from some of the testimonial videos. Because along with this weight loss, I've got to give proof. It isn't just enough to study and then tell people what you've learned. You've got to show proof too. And I'm not saying that the rest of yous are doing your videos wrong. I'm not telling you that one bit. I'm saying what I need to do myself. Because apparently people don't believe me. I know people can lose weight by cutting out carbs and stuff. I know they can. But how long does it last? Is it a lifetime? Once you reach your goal, is it a lifetime? I know people can lose weight like that. And I wish the best for every single one of you, no matter what plan you're on. I don't care what plan it is. I don't give a darn what plan it is. But I need to prove this one, because people just don't believe me. They don't believe that I am capable of breaking my fast with a bag of veggie straws and a can of soda and still lose weight and have a healthy blood sugar. They don't believe it. Or if I choose to eat a candy bar sometime when I'm hungry and that's all I want. Or if I eat a dish that's got a lot of noodles, like spaghetti. People don't believe me. But that's just how I've been eating, guys, for these 60 days that I've been vlogging this journey. And I've lost 9 pounds. And the numbers don't lie. My measurements show it too. I'm losing because I'm doing it the way down way. And I have slipped a few times by overindulging. By overindulging. Why am I exercising? Because she says that you don't have to exercise to lose weight. When I lost the 18 pounds, I wasn't exercising. I could still lose weight without even exercising by doing this way down. So why am I exercising? Because I want to get a very shapely and strong body. I want it to be shapely. I want it to be shapely. And I'm wanting to keep my thyroid running strong. I want my metabolism to stay strong and fast. That's why I exercise. It's my choice. It's not a necessity. It's my choice. Is it to lose weight? No. It's just so that as I'm losing weight, my body continues to look good with it. So yeah, maybe I was jumping on to everybody, but it's just to let you know to back off. Now I'm not telling you all to quit your plan, so don't tell me to quit mine. Back off. Now if you want to watch my journey and see the results, fine. Be my friend. Watch my videos and watch the results as they happen. Watch my transformation. But if you're going to watch just to cut me down, even if it's all in care, even if it's because you care and you choose to cut me down, all in the name of care and love, then just don't watch. Because I don't want discouraged anymore. I know this works. And you all will see. I gave you my 60-day results. Now we'll start in another 30 days. So tomorrow's going to be day 61. I'm not quitting. And I'm not going to be setting myself up for glutton either. I'm very satisfied. And when I give you my results on day 90, they're going to be beautiful. It's very much possible that I'll be in Wonderland by day 90. And my measurements are going to look even better. And by then, this camera should show it even more. I have seen a big difference, y'all. I went back and looked 3 months ago when I done the one video, standing in front of my living room door. Then my face was so fat. My shoulders were so out there. At that time, I didn't watch the video over, so I don't know how much I weighed when I done it. But I could see it. It was all on my face and my shoulders. And I could see a difference from even then 3 months ago to now. 9 pounds may not sound like much, and the little bit that I've lost may not sound like much, but it was enough for me to be able to wear my next size down on those dress slacks. And they weren't too tight. I was able to sit in them, and I even wore a belt. So don't watch these videos if you're going to come on and tell me that I'm eating wrong. No matter how much you care, no matter how much you love me, don't come on these videos and tell me that I'm eating wrong. when I just proved to you on day 60 how much I lost. I'm going to continue reading you bits and pieces out of this book so that you can understand more what I'm doing. This is from a dietitian nutritionist who normally would have told you, cut out all of the junk. Instead, she tells you how that you can eat the junk without overdoing it. I'm not going to be hurt anymore, y'all. Not anymore, not when it's something that I know I can do. Watch and comment as a supportive friend. Not someone who's going to cut me down and say that you're doing it in the name of love and care. If I never get any more views on these videos again, that's fine. I know it's because that everybody disagrees, but that's fine. I'm still logging it. These are my video journals, you all. I'm logging my progress. So if you want to watch the progress, I am more than tickled for you too. But if not, then I know why. And I don't care because I'm going to continue doing it. And I know I'm going to continue succeeding. And in a few months, couple months, few months, how many months it takes, eventually you're going to see me 135. And I'm going to be a very healthy woman. Very healthy. Because I trust God. And that's all I gotta say. I love y'all. Have a great day.